Dreams, goals, aspirations, needs, wants. I have a question for you. Have you ever had a dream or goal or an aspiration, but you didn't quite know how to go forward? You kind of knew what you wanted, but you didn't know how to get started. You didn't know what you needed to do next. Like if it was a business, did you need to start a website? Did you need to create a funnel? Did you need a list? If it's your marriage or your relationship, do you say yes to this or no to that? How do you fix your communication? How do you fix your fitness? Okay, do I, just start doing what I used to do when I was 20 and now I'm 40, or do I start slow? Do I create a schedule? Do I, all of those different things, the how is the thing that gets most of us. Trying to figure out what it is that not only that we want to do, but what is it that we can do. But again, a lot of that comes back to actually getting started. So in this particular case, I want to talk about the how is killing all dreams, or that the how is the killer of all dreams. The biggest thing about most people is that we want perfection. We want to have all of the answers. We want all of the boxes checked. We want somebody to lay out a step by step plan for us to go forward. However, that's not the way that life works. I mean, think about it. In your life, whatever has worked out perfectly, whatever has gone step by step from A to B. Life isn't scripted. Life is sometimes chaotic, it's haphazard or haphazardous. It's just all types of different things can go wrong. You know, it's like when you look at the word belief. If you write the word belief and you look at it, the first part is be, all right, or believe. The first part is be. But in the middle, there's this one word that most of us don't notice, and that's lie, Lie. So are we lying to ourselves? Do we be lying, to ourselves as we move forward? Or look at believing, it's the same thing. Now, I know I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a ramble here, but think about it. Think about what in your life is perfect. What, how you got from where you are to where it is that you started. There was a lot of different trials and tribulations that you went through in your relationship, in your job, in your health, in your fitness, even in learning. You even when we're children, you start off what not even able to lift your head, and then eventually you start to build the muscles in your body. And the muscles start to develop, and now you can lift your head. Then you can prop yourself up on your arms. Then from there you get the strength where you can now manipulate. You're learning how to move your body. Basically, nothing starts from 100. Everything starts from 0 to 1. Now, again, when it comes to problems, sometimes it seems like it just starts off at 100. But even that is something that starts off from 0 to 1 to wherever it is. If you got a bill that's amassed, it's the same thing. That bill has multiplied itself and grown, or your lack of either an ability to pay that bill, or you're forgetting that that bill is there. A lot of things are habit, but life is something that just happens. And don't get me wrong, there's some activities that take place for life to occur. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is that in life, there's a lot of different things that happen to us that move us in certain directions or change the direction or the trajectory that we thought that we were in till we find ourselves in a different place. Many people find that their dreams slip away. And it's not because of external obstacles, it's because of the way that we approach this particular thing or this or that particular thing that happens. It's part of the process, it's part of growth. And we can create steps and methodologies, but we also need to realize that there's going to be things that get in the way. There's going to be things that block our ability to achieve certain goals and to move forward as we traverse this thing called life, as we go through this journey. But the whole thing is to try to learn and develop as we go forward to create the life that we truly want to see. You know, you're on a road, hypothetically, and as you're driving down a road, it's a foggy day. Well, guess what? You can't necessarily see what's all the way down the road. Well, you can only see so far, even in a clear day. But on a foggy day, which is what happens to a lot of us, you know, when we're trying to go through different things and we're trying to figure it out, is that there's a certain fog in front of us. We know that the road is there, or should I say, we hope and believe that the road is there, but we're still going on trust. We're going on faith. But when we go on that trust and we go on that faith, we're also not only believing, but we're projecting the fact that we're going to get where we have to get. We're going to meet whoever it is that we need to meet or do whatever it is that we need to do to get us from one end to the next end to our overall goal. And then each time that we reach a goal, what happens? Now you extend it to another goal. You created a success story in getting that one hurdle out the way, and now you deal with the next hurdle or the next dream or the next thing that you want to do. But the biggest thing is to get started and then to be consistent and persistent with adjustments. There is no such thing as one size fits all. I tell this to my students all the time. You know, everybody is different. Everybody has a different way of seeing things and understanding things. And you too have to be that way. You have to realize that not everybody is going to get you. And that's not their job. You know, there was a quote, it's like, it's not my job to understand. It's not their job to understand. It's my job to make sure that I'm understood. And that's a pretty powerful quote. But anyway, the how is one of those things that always creates barriers in whatever it is that we're going to do. So when you dream big, the how often feels overwhelming, and it might be get you to the point where you ask yourself a bunch of questions. And some of those questions are, you know, how will I get there? How can I afford it? Um, how will I learn the skills that I need to learn? You know, how will I find the time to do it? And the interesting thing about that is, especially with the time thing, is that we seem to be able to make time for nonsense. We seem to be able to find time to do things that don't help us reach our goals and don't get us to where we want to get. But somehow or other, we find time. So, in that journey, in your search to get to your goals, to live your dreams, to have success, you have to decide which things are important, which things aren't. You know, the questions as to those hows that I asked, those are natural, but they can trap you in a cycle of overwhelm. So instead of moving forward, you get stuck trying to figure out the details before you take even one single step. The goal is to get you where you want to get. So in order to get there, you have to take those steps. And as you take those steps, you're going to figure out what it is that you need to do because you don't want to become paralyzed by, you know, analyzing and that analyzing consistently killing your momentum, killing your ability to move forward. So you want to take those steps, the first step, the second step, the third step, understanding that there's going to be times that some of those steps are not going to send you in the direction that you want. There's going to be times when you go to step on a surface that you think is solid, but it's not solid. So how problems, or excuse me, how things become problems is when we decide that uncertainty is something that we don't want to deal with. Yet every day is uncertain. You know, you say that you're going to get again from A to B, going back to the belief or believing. But in truth, you say I'm going to get home at a certain time. You believe that you're going to get home at a certain time. But look at all of the things that could get in your way: traffic, um, slip and fall, an accident, um, all types of different things that can get in your way and keep you from getting where you want to be, or keeping you from being on time from something. You know, we hope that when we leave our particular office, our home, or whatever, that when we get there, everything's going to be the same. But crap happens. And when crap happens, we need to understand that certainty is not guaranteed. You know, you want a clear, foolproof plan before we start, but that's rarely happens. That's not life. That's not how it works. So danger is waiting for the for the perfect perfection, for the perfect plan. You know, and it's very dangerous to wait and not start because every day that you wait, every moment that you waste is time that you can't get back. It's extremely valuable. You know, many people delay action because they want perfection, but perfection again doesn't exist. It's a waste of your time, and it's something that ends up messing up a lot of people because they don't understand that by looking for perfection, you'll never make a motion, you'll never move forward. You know, there was an inventor. This is an example. There was an inventor named Mr. Morgan, Garnet. I believe it was Garnet Morgan. Garnet Morgan. Yeah, Garnet Morgan. Garnet Morgan. God, I can't speak today. Garnet Morgan was an inventor. He did not have any advanced education or perfect conditions for his invention. He was an inventor, African American inventor. But instead, what he did was he learned through trial and error and consistency and experimented with all different types of approaches in his ideas. Many of his early attempts failed, and they failed, but he refused to quit. He kept going. So Morgan is best known for the invention of the three-way traffic light. He also invented the early gas mask or safety hood. And when he created the safety hood, many experts doubted that it would work at all. But his invention, he just kept working at it. And he kept refining it. And he kept, trying to make it become a success. And in 1916, his invention was used to rescue trapped workers in a tunnel that was filled with toxic gas, proving that his thing had life-saving qualities, that he was able to save the lives of those people. So what do we learn from that particular example? All right, we learned that if he hadn't have continued to try, if he hadn't have taken steps to move forward, we would have probably never had the gas mask, or at least those people that he rescued out of that were rescued out of that tunnel wouldn't be here today. Why? Because the invention wouldn't have existed. Now remember, in the 1916s, African Americans were not respected, still weren't seen as full human beings. Civil rights was not passed in 1916. It was passed much later. All right, so black people couldn't vote. All of that stuff was going on around this time. But Morgan's success didn't again come from a perfect plan. It came from trying, it came from failing, it came from learning, it came from adjusting, and it came from persistence because he believed that the process mattered more than perfection. And that's how we have to look at life. We have to look at the process and figuring out what it is that we want to do, surrounding ourselves with the right types of people, and then moving forward so that we can also live our dreams. So the lesson that we need to learn is that a perfect plan will always keep you from getting started. Start where you are, improve as you go, and then let persistence carry you to success. Now, persistence with common sense, persistence with adjusting, adapting, and understanding. They say, there's a saying that nothing worth having is not worth fighting for. And it's the same thing. Your life, your journey is yours. If you truly want success in your life, then what you have to do is you have to go ahead and reach for it, grab for it, and don't stop. Waiting for perfection can only lead to one, missed opportunities, increased fear of failure, loss of motivation, and regret over inaction. You want to write a book? Start writing that book. You have a dream? Start living that dream. I personally started trying to write a book years ago, and something always got in the way. Mostly what got in the way was me allowing things that didn't really matter. Don't get me wrong, some of those things matter, but me letting things that really didn't matter get in the way of me moving forward to write that book. Now I've written more than 20 books, 20 published books. Actually, I think it's like 27 or so published books. But that started with what? One word, one letter, one word, one sentence, one page, multiple pages, the concepts. All of those things started with me taking little steps to move me forward. I used to own a school. How did I do that? I didn't have, even though I was in business, I didn't have a business knowledge as in the sense of starting a business. I was good at managing a business. I was good at managing the aspects of the different parts of the business. But, getting a business license, getting an occupancy permit for the building that I ended up leasing, building my clientele, recruiting students, um, teaching, creating curriculums, all of those different things were steps. And those steps led me to success. So here's some tips. One, start with why and what. Learn to ask how first. Focus. Learn to ask how, but first focus on why you want that dream. What makes you want to achieve it. Why is it that you're doing it? And then clarify your purpose and your goal as you move forward, which will fuel your motivation. But again, I talk about motivation, but also you want to try to create some type of system, understanding that you may have to adjust. Why do you want this dream? Why do you want to achieve it? What does that achievement mean to you? These are things that you need to think about. Number two is you want to take those small, simple steps to move yourself forward. It doesn't have to be big. Small steps build confidence. All right, they build confidence to move you forward because now you're breaking it down into small, manageable steps and actions that you could take to get you where it is that you need to get. So, like I said, the process of publishing a book, marketing, all of those different things are things that you work on. And if there's things that you're not good at, work on the things that you're good at, and then see if you can find somebody that's good at the things that you're not. Pull them in, get them to assist you, so that the things that you're not good at, you're not wasting your time focusing on them. Somebody else that is good at them can knock it out, probably in a quarter of the time, and with a whole lot less effort because they're good at it. Next would be number three. You need to embrace learning and adaptation. Understand that things are going to change, mistakes, and and those things can change parts of your process. Um, but you need to get over the fear, get that mindset to where you're going to move forward and know what it is that you need to do. Number four, you need to seek out support and resources. As I was saying earlier, if there's a particular thing that you're good at, focus on the things that you're good at, and the things that you're not good at, try to delegate that to somebody else or see if you can get somebody else's advice. You can go online sometimes and get direction that will give you, a clearer picture to what it is that you want to do. Now, if you're using something like ChatGPT or something like that, what you probably want to do is look at creating the proper prompts and ask it to get you to where it's 99% sure that not only the information that it's giving you is factual, but that it's actually realistic based on you, based on your character. Again, each individual is different. Then from there, what you want to do is you want to create a clear path to where it is that you want to go. Again, understanding that you may have to make some adjustments as you go. Then from there, you want to focus on progress, not perfection. But try this again. You want to focus on progress, not perfection. Perfection doesn't what? Doesn't exist. But progress does. As you make progress, you'll start to get more satisfaction, more confidence because you know that you're getting closer to your goal. You're getting certain things done as you move forward, and that's going to help you. That's going to help you. And knowing that you have a dream, but understanding that not everything is in your control is something that's huge that most people just don't realize. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. This is Mr. Z Inspires, and you guys have a great rest of your day. pleasure.